Hi, I'm Anne Lang in Toronto at the Women in Science and Engineering Conference. Young women have gathered here to talk about their future careers in science, technology, engineering, and math, and they'll also hear from some high-profile and powerful leaders, and I am joined by three of them here. Sandi Bell is a human resources consultant and part-time human rights commissioner with decades of experience in mediation and in the area of anti-oppression work. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Kitty Young is a physicist, fashion designer, and musician based in California, where she works as a creative technologist for Microsoft. Hi. And we have Dr. Shawna Pandya, a surgeon, skydiver, pilot, and astronaut in training. Wow. Thank you for being here, the three of you.
Thanks for having me.
Sean, I'd like to start with you. You just gave a keynote address at this conference. What's the message you wanted to deliver to the young women here and to young women studying science today?
I think there's a lot of pressure on young women today for a variety of reasons. First of all, there's more attention given to the fact that we need to do a better job with promoting diversity and inclusion because perspectives from multiple sources are important. But we also need to let these women know, give them the tools that they can use to make themselves, set themselves up for success as much as possible.
I read an interesting stat about women in engineering programs. It said that the graduate rate of women is 20% in engineering programs, but the retention rate, women actually working in engineering, is only 11%. Katie, what do you make of that number?
I think we need to encourage more girls to pursue a STEM degree, education, and career. I think we need to start from much earlier, much younger age, but also when we are later in career, there needs to be more ways to keep women in the career, in this career path, and more support for women who want to have both a career and family.
Sandi, what do you think the issue is when it comes to retention, keeping women in the STEM field? What do you think from an HR perspective?
Oh my goodness, that's such a huge question. What I really have picked up from the two previous speakers is the issue of supporting each other and supporting fellow women. You're absolutely correct that we need to start early, but we have to be supporting each other. We need to be mentoring them and being role models. Even when we're not aware of it, we're modeling for other women. And so we need to let them see that we can do it and support each other because it's going to be rough.
Sean, I'm just wondering from your own personal experience, what have you observed that makes it hard for women to stay in the field? Some people talk about it's a confidence issue for women, or there's just a lot of sexism in the field. You're in it, so what have you seen and heard?
There's barriers along the way, and I was chatting with one of my citizen scientist astronaut candidates, and we were talking about when we were young, we just thought this is what we want to do, but it didn't occur to me until I was giving a keynote for a similar group of diverse undergraduates, until one young woman, Southeast Asian background, she came up to me and she outright literally said, "Seeing you up on that stage makes me think I can do this." And that was just, it was blatant, but it was so powerful. And so not having had enough role models is part of it, but also you're right, there is a lot of sexism, there is a lot of old boys club, there's a lot of patterns of behavior and communication that we're just now looking back on behaviors of the past and saying, that really wasn't right, and working with our colleagues across all genders, all backgrounds, to create a workplace that is inclusive, that promotes, that sets people up for success rather than failure.
Well, that's something I've wondered about, because it's one thing to want to have gender equality and equity for fairness, but it's really not just about fairness. It's also just about the end product and the user experience. What would you say about that, Kitty? Why is it important?
Yeah, so we produce technology products for people, to help people. There are many kinds of people, and it's not something that we can just dream up and come up with a pain point and then try to solve it. Is really to understand different kinds of people's needs and making products that will address their needs. Technology is not just about technology, it's really always about people. So there are products that we can be making for women that might not be thought by men engineer before. So there needs to be more collaboration between different backgrounds and disciplines. Engineers should collaborate more with designers so we can come up with better user experience or better products and overall better technology.
Sandi, I'd like to take a step back and ask you, how is gender equity in the workplace related to gender equity in our political life?
We as women are often striving to balance all of the things in our lives and succeed in business, whether it's a big business or a small business, whether it's the creative, amazing things that you young women are doing. And we don't get as engaged as we ought to in the political process, from voting to being involved in whatever party we choose, checking out the parties, checking out the candidates, and actually running. And getting our sisters to be part of our team to make that happen. We must. And those of us who have been around for a while, we need to be going up to young women and saying, you know what, you should think of running for city council or running for prime minister or whatever. If we're not involved in the political process, things are going to keep on the way they've been going on. And often there are those who say that, you know, sometimes a woman can help the conversation go a different way. We tend to solve problems in a different way.
Shawna and Kitty, I want to know what role you think the government should play in promoting and encouraging women to work and stay in science and technology. Shawna, what do you think first?
First of all, to build off what Sandi said, for politics to work, for government to work, ideally it should be a reflection of the people it represents. And Canada is beautiful. It's lovely because of its diversity. But we need to make a conscientious effort to have government reflect that population, that diversity, and then have policies that reflect that as well. Because it's one thing to say that everyone should have a voice at the table because we think that it'll have better outcomes, but it's another thing to actually enforce objective, actionable policies that make that so.
In general, I think the government could be working with companies and employers, forming policies like women can have longer maternity leave, and afterwards they can come back to their job. It's not like giving birth would be the end of their career or something like that. And also encouraging fathers to contribute to raising the kids. So that's what I think can be done better.
I'd like to know, and ask this to all three of you. Sandi, I'll start with you. How would you describe the connection between women and technology and democracy in Canada?
My thought goes to the global stage and how we can be supporting women across the world and across our country, and technology allows us to do that. Rather than just blogging with folks in our own neck of the woods, let's be encouraging women across the country and around the world.
I've seen a lot of traditional industries, they are not up to speed with the digital transformation, and they're too traditional, so it's very difficult for people with great ideas to achieve what they would like to do. So having technology as platforms, giving people the opportunity to teach them how to use them, could give people the opportunity to implement their ideas. So I think that way we can encourage girls and women to be educated on using the cutting edge and create products and applications that would benefit themselves.
Technology has the ability to make our lives better, but it needs to be adapted to women because we are part of Canada, we're Canadians, and we definitely have a lot to do and say. We have a lot of role and responsibility in keeping this democracy, in protecting it, and in making it better.
Sandi Bell, Dr. Kitty Leung, and Dr. Shawna Pandya, thank you so much for spending time with us today.
It's been an honor.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.